Hello, everyone. Sometimes I just suddenly remember a game that I haven't played for 10 years or even 20 years or sometimes even more than that. And just the other day, I suddenly remembered this game and I just thought, hey, I gotta play this game again. And then when I started playing it for a bit, I thought I gotta make a video of this game. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Now, why do I play computer games? I think maybe it's hopefully become clear over the years because I've been making videos of them for like 15 years now, even more than that. But in case it's not clear, obviously I don't play the games necessarily with the best graphics. I mean, good graphics are nice to have in a game, but they're not why I play games. It's not about the best sound or music. I mean, I appreciate good music in games, obviously, but it's not the reason why I play games. It's not even for the story. Some people play games for the story. I've come to realize that story is not necessarily that important to me in a game. I think it was John Carmack of id Software fame who said basically a story in a computer game is like a story in a porn movie. A lot of porn movies have stories in them, but does anybody really care? Like, nobody really cares too much about the stories. It's kind of like the same in games. Who really cares about the story in a game? People play games for the game. And I've sort of come to accept that. I play games for the interactivity. And so this is a game which has, well, I'll show you. It has a lot of interactivity I guess in a good and a bad way, depending on who you are. Let's just go ahead and run the game. So this game was published by Virgin Games. And that's not a sneaky way of saying that you're a virgin if you played this game. It was developed by Vector Graphics, spelled with an X. And yes, it is called Shuttle, the Space Flight Simulator. I believe this game is from 1992, if I remember right. And I don't know if I have something wrong with the audio here, because I think there's supposed to be music playing here on the title screen. This game is very light on audio. It has perfunctory sound effects, but other than that, it does not have much in the way of audio. But that's okay. Let's go ahead and here we go. Main menu. Great introduction. That's your introduction to the game. You get a title screen. Now you get this menu. So we can look at information about Vector Graphics, developed by Vector Graphics Limited in Leeds, England. Some people worked on the game here, and then about Virgin Games. These are the people who published the games. So some information about the people here. And there's a demo, which basically means just you watch the game running, but you don't touch, look but don't touch. Game setup, I don't think we need to do much about this here now. Detail complexity is, wait, hold on. Oh, I need to click open to open it. Yeah, so detail is maximum, so yeah, everything on and high, that's good. Help level is basically how automatic you want the game to be. I'll go ahead and keep it on full-on auto, which is, not necessarily ideal if you want to have the most realistic experience, but I'll go ahead and keep it on auto just because, for the purposes of this video, I don't want to mess things up too badly. It's not actually full auto. It's kind of a lie. The full auto is a lie. The full auto cake is a lie. So log, what the game calls a log is basically a saved game. So clicking on, it's a bit confusing. Clicking on new log means save game, save your current progress, and reload means load game. Yeah, a little bit, not necessarily intuitive for people who've been playing games for 30 years. This terminology can kind of confuse you. Info is basically just info screens about various parts of the space shuttle. So, this tells you about the crew compartment where the actual human beings exist inside the space shuttle. You can switch back and forth between different pages of information here. You can read that if you'd like. I'm not going to read all this. I mean, there's stuff here about the solid rocket boosters. Okay, that's nice. External tank, that's the huge fuel tank. Yeah, I'm not going to read all this. I mean, I guess I can briefly click through all these. If anybody wants to read these, you can just pause the video. So I guess it's not going to take much time to just read through all these. One thing that always amazes me is these hoses. They look so chaotic, but this series of little tubes and hoses that tend to be seen on aerospace engines like this. I assume that they're not random. They look like random noise, but I guess they're actually engineered to have a certain form and connect to certain places. So it just looks like random noise, but I guess they must be There must be some process of mechanical engineering, that like some process of design that goes into actually structuring those things. It's kind of crazy to think about. So the orbital maneuvering system. Excuse me, sorry. I really should stop making videos right after I eat. It's my fault. I'm sorry. So yeah, this is a system which maneuvers orbitally, I'm going to assume. Reaction control system, which is a system that reacts in a controlled fashion. Airlock, yeah, which is basically, yeah, locks the air in. Remote manipulator system, it remotes things manipulatorily, or the other way around probably, but that's okay. Oh, is this the Canadarm? I think this is that so-called Canadarm, which, because it was made in Canada, or at least designed in Canada, or maybe both, I don't know. And yeah, the manned maneuvering unit, or MMU, is basically the thing that this person is wearing. It's like a jetpack. It's basically like a jetpack that zooms you around in space. Pretty cool. Okay, and sites. This is just if you want to see, like, there's not really much point to this. You can see, so there are 2 launch sites. There's one at Kennedy Space Center, there's one in Vandenberg Air Force Base, and the 2 landing sites, one at Kennedy Space Center and one at Edwards Air Force Base. If you just click on one of these, basically what it does is it just kind of shows you this. It kind of zooms in, like, zoom. It zooms in on a place on the globe. It kind of shows you, yeah, it's zooming in on that point on on America's undercarriage, which is of course called Florida, and yeah, it just shows you where the site is. So yeah, there you go. There's the site, and you get a similar effect if you click on one of these other 3 things here. Okay, so let's actually get into the game. So to get into the game, you click on Next Mission, and this is our first mission. Our first mission here is to is just to land. So this is supposed to be like a kind of simple introduction to the game and its interface. It's not necessarily the best first mission because it takes place in Earth's atmosphere, and most of the game, because it's a space game, obviously takes place in outer space. So this is not necessarily the best introduction to kind of what the game is really like, but I guess it kind of, maybe it's meant for people who played a lot of flight simulators to kind of ease them into the game a little bit. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, so the way that this works is we control the space shuttle, but it's actually being carried. It is not, this is before the space shuttle was really actively doing missions in space. So what we're doing here is a test landing, and the space shuttle is not returning from space. It's being carried on the back of a Boeing 747. So I'm going to go ahead and say accept, and we'll see. Yeah, there we go. So obviously this huge thing underneath is the Boeing 747, and we control this shuttle at the top here. But we don't really have any control over things yet because, oh yeah, because I have the game set to full auto. Again, it's not actually full auto. What it does is when you need to do things, it shows you the place on the control panel where you're supposed to do things. So what we're supposed to do here is turn on these HUD panel switches. So if I press, hold on, if I press F2, yeah, this is our heads-up display, but notice it's like it doesn't show anything. So what we have to do, if I press F1, it'll go back to this, yeah, and it marks, it highlights where you need to click. So if I click on this, that turns on the power to HUD 1, and this will turn on power to HUD 2. There we go. And now if I press F2, there we go. Now we have these details, we have this information on our HUD. And that's most of what you need to do here. The rest is just doing the actual landing. Now if I press F10, yeah, F10 shows you this. I can't actually control anything until that 747 breaks away, which will happen soon. I think. It happens like 45 seconds after. After start of simulation. There we go. There's a very subtle little sort of click or tap sound that you hear. I like the subtlety of this game's audio. It's mostly very, like I said, the audio is very muted, which is, I guess, good and bad, depending on whether you like audio or not. And yeah, don't try to move down immediately. You can actually hit that 747. It banks away to the left, as you can see, but if you try to move down too quickly, you can actually hit it, and you'll both blow up, and that will end the simulation very quickly. So wait a little while for it to bank away as it did. You'll see that M flashing in the upper right, that stands for messages. That shows that you have messages. If I press F7, that shows you this sort of readout. So this is basically communications that we're getting from central control. So I'm not going to read all this, but basically, yeah, Enterprise, enjoy the ride. That's what they say when the 747 decouples from you. So I'm going to say it feels to me, I don't know if that's just my idea, it feels to me like we're way too high to do a proper landing. I don't know. I'm pitching down. So mostly this controls like a regular flight simulator. You use the cursor keys to maneuver the plane just as you would in a regular flight simulator. And the game does have rudder control, but it seems like only rudder left works. If I press the comma, yeah, see that? It yaws to the left. And pressing period is supposed to yaw to the right, but it doesn't. So I don't know if that's a bug in the game, or if it's a problem with my keyboard, or if it's, I don't know. I have no idea. But yawing to the left works, but if you want to move to the right, you'll have to roll to the right. So from here on in, it just works like a, pretty much like a regular flight simulator. I'm going to press P for a second to pause. You'll see that line in the upper right stops spinning. Basically, the spinning line indicates that the game is running, and if you press P to pause, then that line stops spinning to show that it's paused. What I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to come back to the instrument panel, and by pressing F1. So pressing F1 takes you back here. And why don't I? Why did I stop hearing anything? I mean, you could say it's because the game is paused, but I definitely heard something when I was here, but then it's odd. Okay, anyway. So pressing F1 takes you here, and you can scroll around this panel with the mouse. So you can move the mouse around to the edges of the screen to see all the buttons and dials here. And this is what I meant by interactivity. There is so much stuff here. There is so much to click on here. And this game is from 1992, so it didn't simulate the integrated CRTs very well. It doesn't show the contents here. But if you click on one of these CRTs, it shows you there's actually content here. So like this is showing you launch trajectory, which I don't think is relevant here because we're not launching, we're landing. But okay, cool. So that's CRT1. This is CRT2, which shows, I don't know what GNC, IMU, CNTL, MON is. CNTL is probably control, and MON is maybe monitoring. And then down here we have CRT3, which shows us this. Probably horizontal situation, I'm going to guess. So, yeah. And so, you know, I love this kind of thing. I know a lot of people think that this feels too complicated, but honestly, I love these kinds of games that have lots of buttons and switches, lots of things to control. This is really what I geek out on. Even when I was a kid, I really loved these kinds of games. So this is, you know, I was just thinking about this and thinking, man, this game is so rich. It is so much stuff about the shuttle that you can learn and do and mess with. And this is not all. Check this out. If I press Shift F1, we see this. And what we were looking at was just this panel here, this area here. But there's also all this over here. Oh yeah, we got so many switches. So many switches and buttons. It's pretty cool. And if I come back here with Shift F1, I think it's just the lower part of the same panel. It can be a bit confusing because you might get the impression looking at this that this and this are two different panels, but actually no, if I click here, I see fire suppression and stuff like this, cabin relief. And if I come back here and click here, I see this, but if I scroll up with the mouse, yeah, we have fire suppression and cabin relief here. So these two are part of the same panel. It just kind of jumps to different parts of that panel. And the same is true up here. Like these three are not like three different panels. If I click here, you can see the CRTs are up here. If I click here though, actually I don't. This is actually a different panel. Okay, that's fine. So this is part of a different panel. I think this is part of that same panel, right? Yeah. So this and this are part of the same panel. They just, again, it just jumps to different places. But this and this, I'm pretty sure, are part of the same panel. And then up here, you've got another couple of sections here. So you've got this this here. Oh, that's actually also part of the same panel. That's also part of the same instrument panel. And then clicking up here shows you the HUD, which we were looking at before. And I guess that's it. Oh, we've also got this view out the side. But you can also get to these by various function keys. So yeah, so F3 shows you the view out the left window. Shift F3 shows you the view out the right window. Left, oh, what is left over? Okay, that's left over. I guess it's an overhead window, so you can see the sky if you really want to see the sky. Left aft is, what are we looking at here? Is it the back? Are we looking into space here? I don't think so. No, we can't be looking into space because it's daytime. Even if we're looking at the sky, it would still be blue. I don't know exactly what we're looking at here. I don't know, man. Inside MMU, this actually doesn't apply here because we don't have an MMU. MMU, remember, was the manned maneuvering unit. That's the when you're out in the spacesuit outside. We don't have that here because we are not doing an MMU mission. CCTV is this. I guess it's turned off. And yeah, this, like I said, this views the shuttle. And F7 is the teleprinter, which shows you these commands and things like that. So yeah, that's what I mean by interactivity. This game has so many controls in it, and that's what I really like. I really love games that use like a lot of keys on the keyboard. This game has so many keystrokes and key presses that it doesn't just use a lot of keys on the keyboard. It even uses the meta keys, so like Control and Shift and Alt and things like that do different things with the keyboard. I really like games like that, which make full use of all the keys on the keyboard, because that, for me, that lends depth to a game. I know some people don't like it, but for me, I really like that kind of thing in games. And I was just remembering this game the other day, and I thought, man, I really got to play that again. Then when I played it, like I said, I have to make a video about this because this is just so cool. It's just such a great game. I mean, as a simulation, it is somewhat limited. I mean, again, it's from 1992. The technology available to make games like this was still kind of limited at the time, so there were limits to what they could do and did do, but still. Yeah, I mean, when I see stuff like this, I just think, wow. Best game. Best game. This is why I play computer games. Okay. And again, it's not just, I mean, you can control this kind of with the mouse, but most of these things, actually, I guess not most of these things, but a lot of these things have keyboard shortcuts. Like I said, I really like it when games make use of the keys on the keyboard, because that's what a computer is for, really. I mean, the reason why I play games on the computer instead of a console like the NES is because the computer has lots of controls, so why not use them? Okay, sorry, rant over. Let's go ahead and go back to the HUD, and I'll unpause by pressing P. So yeah, it's a pretty straightforward landing. I guess those symbols in the middle are kind of the same as with a flight simulator. Typically in a flight simulator, that cross at the top is where the nose is actually pointing, and that thing farther down, which is a circle with 3 lines coming out of it, is the flight path indicator. I mean, it's actually where the shuttle is going, where it's actually flying to. We have to bank right a little bit here to move a little bit. Yeah. See, the controls are kind of weird. It's like I'm banked to the right, or I was banked to the right, but it didn't actually move me to the right, and then all of a sudden it just started yawing to there. Okay, we're lined up pretty well here now. This is a pretty good lineup. So yeah, controls are basically the 4 arrow keys, and then comma to yaw left and period should yaw right, but it doesn't. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and start to level out already. So if you play a lot of flight simulators, like I said, it will probably feel like we're too high. But the way that this shuttle controls is kind of weird. When you're landing, you will want to flare way early, like what would feel way too early to somebody who plays flight simulators. Like what I'm doing here would be kind of stupid. I'm way too high to be doing something like this in a plane. I'm going to already drop our landing. I'm going to press Control G for gear, and then A to arm the gear, and then Control G and D to drop the gear. And I think you'll see if you look at the messages here. Yeah, it takes 10 seconds to deploy the undercarriage anyway. They said you're supposed to. I think it said you're supposed to deploy the landing gear at 250 knots, but I did it way above that. I just can't. 250 seems way low to me. Because, yeah, the way the shuttle behaves is odd. Have I actually overdone it? I'm starting to feel like I might have actually overdone this. I might have actually done this a little too high and a little too early. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and allow myself to nose down just a little bit, but not too much. This shuttle doesn't appear to have any landing flaps, as you would use in a real plane. What? What happened? Okay. I did that too early. Well, I'll have to try again. I know that I flared a little too early. I know that it looked like I flared way early. But you have to, as far as I can tell, you have to flare this thing a little earlier than you would do with an airplane. Because like I was saying, this doesn't have landing flaps. And, or at least it doesn't seem to, at least the simulator doesn't seem to simulate flaps that I could find. And so I don't know if the real space shuttle has flaps in real life, but who knows. If you don't know what flaps are, I mean, most of you watching this are probably into flight simulators, because if you're not, you probably would have already stopped the video by now. But if you don't know what flaps are, basically flaps are just, I mean, they're flaps. They're flaps of like metal that extend from the trailing edges, like from the back sides of a plane's wings. And they do two things. They slow the plane down, which is important when you're landing because you need a way to slow down quickly. And they also lower your stall speed. Basically, they let you fly slower without losing your ability to stay in the air. So both of those are pretty important when you're landing. And so when you land, you want to extend your flaps because it lets you land slower, and it lets you slow down faster. It lets you decelerate more quickly. If you're starting to be a pilot, I actually trained to be a pilot several years ago, like more than 10 years ago now. And if you're training to be a pilot, you have to practice landing without flaps, because it can happen that, the flaps break, that the mechanism which lowers the flaps on the plane just breaks, and then, you don't have flaps anymore. So you have to practice landing without flaps in case you have a situation where you have to do that. And I can tell you, it is so hard, at least for me, it was so hard to land without flaps. Like, I seriously had to, you basically have to turn the engine off. I mean, you don't turn it off, but you basically just cut the plane's engine to idle, and you just glide down if you're landing without flaps. Like, you don't even need any extra power, because the gravity, the weight of the plane is more than enough to have it fly into a landing, and you come down really fast. Like, if you land without flaps, you come down so fast, it's actually kind of scary. I never really got good at that. So yeah, flaps are important, but this game does not seem to have flaps, so you just have to land without them and just do your best. So normally you'd want to flare when you're like maybe 50 feet or even less than 50 feet above the ground, but in this game, I do it when you're like, I do it at an altitude of already like 100 or 200 feet, which is way high. Like, I don't know if I'm doing that wrong. Like I said, I'm not sure if I'm doing this wrong, because I've never flown a space shuttle, so I don't know if that's how you actually fly the shuttle, or if that's just how it works in a simulator, or if I'm doing something wrong here. I don't know, but anyway. But yeah, this feels, for somebody who's played a lot of flight simulators and who has actually flown planes in real life, this just feels really uncomfortable for me. It feels to me like we're way too high. It really feels to me like we are way too high to be landing properly. But I guess this is the way the space shuttle actually lands. Like the sink rate, which means, how fast you come down, appears to be a lot higher than on an airplane. So I guess that's just the way things be. I over-yawed to the left. Now I have to... It is really annoying that, I have to pull up as well. That flight path indicator is a lie. It suggests that, like, if I do this now, this suggests that we're going to hit the end of the runway. Don't trust that. You actually, if I leave it like this, we are going to significantly undershoot. We're going to hit the ground before the runway. So you probably want to land more like this, like put it almost in the middle of the runway, because otherwise you're gonna hit that number 17. And miss the runway by, you know what? I need to arm my landing gear. I dropped my landing gear at like a speed of over 400, which is way too fast. But oh well. So yeah, I'm already flaring here. Like, I'm already pointing my nose up above level flight, which is way, way, way early. Like I'm still at 100 feet. This would be way too high to do this in a real plane. But this appears to be the way the shuttle lands. Again, at least in the sim. I don't know if this is how it works in real life. There we go. That was more like it. That's the sound of touchdown. That was the sound of the shuttle touching down. And there is a temptation to overflare, but if you really flare like crazy, like if you point the nose way up, the shuttle will crash. I don't think that's what happened last time. I don't think I was flaring that crazily. I don't know why I crashed last time, honestly. But that was a proper touchdown. That was a not too bad landing. Not exactly perfect, not ideal, but that was a not terrible landing in my personal humble opinion. And yeah, I know my opinion's not very humble, but okay. Yeah. You just have to land a bit fast. Land fast and come down a little bit faster. And I don't think this game even has wheel brakes. I mean, when you touch down on the ground, normally like an airplane has wheel brakes, which are basically just like car brakes and the wheels that will, brake, slow you down. But I don't think this even has that. You just have to wait until you roll to a stop. And there you go. That was a decent landing. You performed a perfect landing. Well done. All right, cool. So now I can say OK, and I can go to log. And again, new log saves the game. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And log file save. I'll leave it at manual. Basically have to manually save between missions, but that's okay. So I'll go ahead and put in the name of the save file, which is just my name or my YouTube name. And I'll say OK. And now if I'm just going to quickly test that. If I quit now and run this again, theoretically it should now, if I go to reload, yeah, there's my log file. And if I click on load, there we go. Now we've got our progress back. So we have this mission, but I can click on next mission to go to the next mission. So here we go. So this is the second mission. So the second mission is a takeoff. We're taking off from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. And there are some details here, which I'm not going to read out loud. Interesting little detail here. For this mission, the external fuel tank is painted white. After the second flight, the coat of paint was removed, resulting in the familiar rust-colored tank. So let's go and accept the mission. So this mission is mostly about automation and time. If we press F7 to go to the teleprompter here, this is T-1 day, I think. I believe this is hours, this is minutes, and this is seconds. So seconds, minutes, hours, and days. We are literally, it starts exactly 1 day before takeoff. So 1 day before takeoff, they start the rollout from VAB, which is, I was going to say that's Vandenberg Air Force Base, maybe, but no, this is not Vandenberg, this is the Kennedy Space Center. Vandenberg is in California, but we are taking off from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida, so I don't know what VAB is, something else. So let's go ahead and see what we can do here. So this is the external camera, and if yeah, so you can use the numeric keypad to control the camera view. So if you, oh, okay, it's a little bit. So plus and minus zoom in and out like this, and you use insert and delete on the keypad to, actually I guess you can use the non-keypad, yeah, you can use also non-keypad insert and delete to yaw the camera like this. So why did it turn white like that? I think it turned white because there is something white behind the shuttle. Yeah. It turned white because I moved the camera into that structure there. But basically what's happening here is the shuttle is being rolled out of this hangar here. And it's on that crawler, that thing underneath it. We can zoom in a little bit. This is called a crawler. And boy, does it ever crawl. It crawls very slowly. So this thing is going to move our shuttle very, very, very slowly from this huge hangar here all the way along this path to the launch pad, which is away in that direction. So we could wait for that to happen, But I am not going to wait for that to happen. Oh, by the way, just as an aside, you can also rotate the camera with, this is home and end. So with home and end, you can rotate the camera in that dimension. And page up and page down, rotate the camera like this. So yeah, so you have a pretty decent range of motion for this external camera. Pretty cool. Okay, what I'm going to go ahead and do is press escape to go to the menu, and we haven't actually looked at these other menu things here, have we? Bunch of, yeah, all these panels that we have here we can go to. Yeah, all this, man, all this stuff. And directly go to all these different controls here. It's pretty awesome. I guess it lists all the different controls that are on that instrument panel. You can directly go to all the different controls from here. That's pretty cool. And here we go. So these are different controls for different things. So what we want to do here is time advance. Hold on, what's the time of day right now? It is 12:01. So okay, so it started at exactly noon. So what we are going to do is go to time advance, and you can actually drag these windows around like this as well. It's kind of cool. So what this shows you is advance by basically lets you set how much time to advance. Like if you want to skip ahead, this will let you skip ahead by, for example, 6.5 hours is the default option here. I'll go ahead and set this to 1 hour. And then display rate is how often it updates. So what I'm going to go ahead and do, let me go ahead and click OK to get rid of that for a second. If I press T now for time advance, what it's doing, what you're seeing is yeah. So what it did was it advanced time by those 30 minutes. So this is 30 minutes later. Actually, no, 1 hour. I said 1 hour, not 30 minutes. So this is 1 hour later. And each update, basically each frame of the screen, like each movement that it made, was an advance of 1 minute. So if you want to count them, I know it happened a little too fast to count, but if I'm going to do that again, I'm going to press T again. And basically what it's going to do is it's going to, see how it's kind of updating? Basically each movement that it makes is 1 minute of time later. And it's going to do 60 of them. I know it's probably a little too fast to really count, but if you want to count them, that should theoretically be 60 of these, because each movement is 1 minute, and I advance time by 1 hour. So cool. So I'm just going to do that a few times. I think it takes 7 hours to reach the launching pad. So we've already had 2 hours, so this is going to be the 3rd hour. There's not really much to see here. I mean, it's kind of nice surroundings, but there's not really a lot to see out here. I mean, it's you know, somewhere off the tip of Florida, or off the coast, the Florida coast somewhere. I don't actually know exactly where the Kennedy Space Center is. I mean, I know where Florida is, but I don't know where in Florida this is. Probably, obviously, close to the coast, close to the water. Probably somewhere close to the southern tip of Florida, close to where the urethra opens up. And yeah, that is the launch pad that we were just approaching here. So I'm going to zoom in just a touch. And that structure on the left, that tower on the left here, this is where, I guess this is where the astronauts climb in. So the shuttle doesn't have the astronauts inside already. What's going to happen is after it reaches the pad, later on the astronauts will climb into the shuttle using this tower here. But for now, yeah, I don't know why the crawler is so slow. I don't know why it takes this trip, it takes up 7 hours to do this trip. I guess so that the shuttle doesn't fall off. I guess it's to avoid any risk of the shuttle tipping over or falling off or getting bounced around too much. I guess it's to avoid jostling it. I believe that's how it works in real life. Like, it actually does take 7 hours to do this crawl. So yeah, and you can kind of see. It's hard to really see it because of the resolution, but actually maybe the resolution makes it easier to see because you can see when a pixel moves, because the pixels are chunky and everything. You can kind of see when the pixels move. You can kind of see it is moving perceptibly, kind of. I mean, is kinda hard to tell, but actually no, actually it is perceptible. If you actually watch the ground move, you can actually see that green, that point where the green turns to gray. You can actually see that it is moving along that track. Because the crawler doesn't have wheels, it has tracks. You can actually perceptibly see that it is moving along that track. So yeah, you can actually kind of perceive the movement that it's making. It is moving just fast enough that you can kind of perceive the movement. But let's see. Let's go ahead and advance this by. Let's advance time by. There's also you'll see there's time skip. So you can, instead of saying advance by like 1 hour, you can put in a specific clock time to just skip directly to that time. So if you do this mission a couple times, you'll want to skip this advancing time and just skip time. Just go directly to that time there. So I'm going to go ahead and advance by like just 1 minute, not 10 minutes, 1 minute. There we go. So if I press T, it advances by 1 minute. Yeah, there we go. So we're getting there. But the thing is, advance it just to the point where it's, yeah. So we're about there now. But the thing is, even once the shuttle reaches that landing pad, that's not the end. That's not the end of the wait. That's just the time that it takes for the crawler to reach this point. But, let's go ahead and get it there. So there we go. I don't know exactly what that sound is. It's making some kind of sound. I don't know what the sound is. So the crawler is now actually moving back. You can kind of, again, you can kind of see it. It's pretty slow, but yeah, see, I'm advancing time a bit. So the crawler goes back. So the shuttle gets left on this platform here, and the crawler moves back to the hangar where it came from. And I think, at least later, it will actually say that here. For some reason, it doesn't say that here yet, but it will indicate that here later. So anyway, okay. So we can't really do much right now. I mean, if I press F2, you can actually see this is the view out the HUD. I mean, look at the other, look out the other windows here. Like the right window shows us. Yeah, I mean, you can see the. That's what it looks like out the window. So yeah, so you can see stuff like this. Can I see the control panel? It doesn't actually show me the control panel. It's kind of. Oh, it's interesting. It does it if I choose it from the menu. That's interesting. It will let me do it from the menu, but not if I press F1 on the keyboard. Okay, that's interesting. Well, anyway, so like I said, that's not even close to the end of our wait. We have to wait much longer because, yeah, the shuttle was brought to the landing area, but we still have to wait for other stuff to happen. So hold on, just before I start the long wait, let me just see. Actually, if I click on fixed views here, we get some other nice views here. Like here's the KSC. I don't know what KSC is. Oh, Kennedy Space Center. Duh. So this is the runway here. This is the view from 30,000 feet. I mean, you don't really see very much here. It's kind of in like a nice sort of establishing shot, I guess. Here's the launch pad, which is, you know, where we are. High Bay VAB. I don't know what that is. What's the... Oh, VAB. Oh, this is the hangar where we started. So vehicle something bay probably. Okay, so this is the... Okay, so this is the... This is where we started. And the crawler way is... Yeah, that's where it's the path that the crawler takes. There are 4 fixed views along the crawler way. And behind the VAB, so this is the view behind this building here, which, you know, again, doesn't really... You can't move the camera here. That's why it's a fixed view. You can't adjust the camera. You just kind of see this is the place where we started, and that's the path we took there. Okay, so I'm going to press F10 so we can view our shuttle. And we have a very long wait ahead of us now. Like I said, if you were doing this more than once, you'd go straight to time skip and enter in the time. Actually, I don't even know when exactly is the launch. Intuitively, I think that because we started exactly T minus 1 day, and it was exactly noon. Hold on, what's the current time now? Time of day is currently 17:22, which is 5:22 p.m. I would have thought that that then, since it's exactly 1 day, that the launch would start at noon the next day. But I think before noon, there's some stuff we have to do, so I'm not going to advance directly to. Let's just do a time advance rather than doing a time skip. Let's just do a time advance, and I'll advance by 1 hour. And I'll say display rate. Display rate. Let's make display rate 10 minutes. And let's press T to advance time. You can see that a T shows up in the upper right to indicate that we're advancing time. So, yeah, we're going to be sitting here for a little while. I'm going to advance time to make the wait less painful. But, okay, so now we have an M. Yeah, crawler starts back to parking position outside of VAB. But it did that already before. Like, the crawler already left us like half an hour ago. So I don't know why it suddenly reports that now, because that's not new information. That's like almost 30-minute old information, but whatever. So I just wanted to do this because you'll see why in a moment. Yeah, see? The game actually simulates day and night cycles, so it's starting to get dark. And now the stars come out. And you can actually see, let me make the time advance a little more granular. Instead of 10 minutes, let's set it to just 1 minute. And you will see, if I press T, see it actually simulates the position of the stars. You can actually see the stars moving, because each screen update is 1 minute, so the stars are obviously moving faster than they would in real life, but it is actually simulating the movement of the stars across the sky. And we are just camping out here with the shuttle on the launch pad, waiting for launch, which will happen in the morning. And in the meantime, we are here. We are here at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida, just watching stuff go down. I mean, not much is going down now except the stars. And they're not technically going down. The Earth is rotating, obviously, in such a way that the stars look like they're coming down, but they're obviously not. They're just sliding past our field of view. Yeah, there's just something peaceful about this. Just something peaceful about camping out with the space shuttle in the evening before launch, watching the stars slowly slide across the sky. And again, I know they're not actually sliding. It's the other way around. We're sliding our window of view, so the stars appear to be sliding, but that is the natural solipsism of the human being, isn't it? That's what they call main character syndrome today, the idea that you are the center of the universe and everything revolves around you, when in fact, actually the opposite is true. We revolve around a star. Although I guess the stars do move to some extent, don't they? I mean, galaxies do move. I mean, our galaxy is set to collide with another galaxy in 5 billion years, so actually, technically, stars are not stationary. They do move, even with regard to each other. Like the stars of actually the star is the center of a solar system, not a galaxy. Our galaxy is not built around one star; it's built around a black hole. So, but the black holes that form galaxies do actually move relative to each other slowly over time, and so they're not perfectly stationary. But yeah, we're just here floating around in space with the stars. Okay, I got a message. So what does the message say? Begin final countdown. It's the final countdown. So at T-5, meaning 5 hours before launch, we have the final countdown starting. So wait, what time is it now? 6:40. Okay. So yeah, so in 5 hours, final countdown will begin. So it is like 11:40. Okay, so it's not exactly noon. It's like, yeah, stuff will start happening before Stuff will start happening before noon, though, because we're going to start having some tasks that we need to... yeah, there we go. You can see the sun starting to come up. I think it stops the time advance if you get a message. I think if that M appears, it stops the time advance early. So, yeah. So it's letting you know that it's actually beginning filling the liquid oxygen tank in the external tank. So that huge... hold on, let me come back here. So the things on the shuttle, there are basically four main things here, in case you don't know. So this thing here is the actual space shuttle, the thing which is on the left in our current view here. And what's underneath it are actually... so the gray thing in the middle is a fuel tank. That's the huge fuel tank. And these two white lines are rocket boosters. And these three things are just used for takeoff. After takeoff, these three things will drop away. So, so right now they're filling the liquid oxygen fuel into that huge fuel tank there. That's what the message was saying. But you don't need to do any of that. This mission is actually fairly automated. It's kind of funny. Most of this mission happens automatically. You don't really need to do much. There are a few things we'll need to do later, but right now what's happening is just totally automatic. It's just letting us know what happens, but we don't need to do anything. Got another message. Okay, begin filling liquid hydrogen tank and external tank. Oh, I see. That was the liquid oxygen. Now it's filling the liquid hydrogen tank in the external tank. And again, the external tank is the ET. The external tank is this huge thing. ET, phone home. So, so yeah, still just kind of playing a waiting game here, but things will get exciting. Things will get more exciting pretty soon. Enter orbiter, enter through side hatch, climb into seats. Now, the game does not actually show, as far as I know, it does not show the process of I guess what's happening is the astronauts climb up this tower, or maybe there's probably an elevator, but they go up this tower, and then I guess there's going to be like a catwalk that extends, and they walk along the catwalk into the tip of the space shuttle. Not this is the tip of the fuel tank, but they walk into the front of the space shuttle, which is, you know, this part here. I don't think the game shows that. It would be kind of cool if you could actually see little astronauts climbing into the crew module there, but that does not happen. It does not show that. It just tells you that that's what's happening. So that's what the message was saying. The message was informing us that, okay, we got another message. Okay. Unstow cue cards. Velcro backed cards removed from flight data file and attached to the instrument panel. All this is just for information. You really don't have to do much right now. Okay, here we go. Here's our first actual action. So what we have to do is check with launch control. So launch control will contact you on air to ground channel 2, both intercom channels and the air channel communications controls are on pounds 5 and 9 the commanders and pods overhead pounds. So the proper channels, right? So we need to basically turn on all these. So the right audio, these 5 switches here, we need to turn them from off to TR. I don't know what TR. Oh, transmit and receive. So we'll go ahead and click on that, and on that, and on that, and on that, and on that. There we go. There we go. It does the check of the 5 communication channels. So cool. All right. So that's basically the first thing that we have to do as part of the takeoff process. So yeah, it will get a little more involved. There is going to be some more stuff that we will have to do. But for now, yeah, still just waiting. So I'm going to go ahead and advance time a little bit more. Again, 1 hour, we don't need to wait a whole hour, but like I said, it stops the time advance if you get a message. So I'm just going to press T, and it will stop the time advance when we actually get another task. Right, so now we need to turn on the CRTs. So those 3 CRTs that we saw, we turn on CRT 1. Oh, need to click twice. It started at the off position, and clicking 1 sets it to standby. Clicking a second time sets it to on. So off, standby, on, off, standby, on. There we go. Yeah, so these are old-fashioned CRTs, meaning they need to warm up, just as, if any of you remember CRT computer screens or television screens, they really work that way. They need to warm up. I think 38 seconds, 44 seconds. I think that's a long time for CRTs to warm up. Maybe back in this is like in the 1970s. So I guess maybe in the 1970s, CRTs needed more time. Like the picture tube needed more time to warm up before it could show anything. But I think actually if we come back here, will we see anything, or are the screens still dark? No, it's already showing us. So yeah, this will be our, again, I guess this is going to be our launch trajectory. And that's CRT1, this is CRT3, showing us our horizontal situation. And CRT2 should show us our GNC IMU CNTL MON. All right. Cool. CRTs are ready for use, but I think they're ready for. I think they were already showing something before. They should nominally be ready for use, but that's okay. All right. Gonna advance time again. Wait for the next thing to happen. This is basically how this mission works. So again, you don't really do much. Like, you don't actually do the takeoff itself. The takeoff itself is computer controlled. Most of this mission is just flipping switches like this. So we need to turn the power to the boilers. So we'll do it with these 3 switches and these 3 switches for boiler N2 supply. I'm assuming N2 as in nitrogen. Presumably, possibly, I don't know. Yeah, so the 3 boiler controls and then nitrogen supply. Yeah, so that is the nitrogen supply. So we turn on the boiler control, we turn on the nitrogen supply. And yeah, cool. All right. Advance time some more. Wait for the next thing to happen. All right, we've got another message. So, ground crew secures white room and retires to fallback area. Okay, so that doesn't really concern us very much. The ground crew who are working on stuff down here, they're basically retreating from the shuttle. So that's fine. All right, what do we have here? I need to open these vents. So these are the isolation vents. So I need to open this one and this one. And you can see it'll actually, the cabin vent status actually updates to OP, which I guess is open. So that's fine. So cabin vent switch L2 to open. So it says klaxon alarm should sound, but the game doesn't actually sound an alarm. I guess in real life the shuttle would sound an alarm at this point, but the game doesn't. You just have to kind of imagine one, which is probably more pleasant than actually hearing one. Cabin vent isolation switch open, check. Cabin vent switch open, check. Cool. All right. So far, so good. Advance time some more. Oh, we already got another task. Right, so now we need to, what is this? We need to do voice checks with mission control. Okay, so I need to change this to, so this transmit icon mode needs to get changed to, I don't know what, I guess PTT is push to talk. And then PTY Vox, I don't know, I need to change this to Vox, which is voice. And I need to turn on these 5 audio channels just as we did before with the, so this is the left audio now. We turn on the right audio, now we turn on the left audio. So there we go, that is done. Yeah, so ICOM mode is on Vox Vox, and all the 5 left audio channels have been checked. So great, okay, cool. So far so good. Let's wait around a bit. Yep. I was going to say something should happen soon, and it did. Right, so now we close these vents. I don't know what it is with these vents, but basically, yeah, we close these 2 isolation vents, so they go from OP to CLO, obviously from open to closed. Close. So check, check. Those are closed. Nice. Okay. And I believe we are about to experience a planned 10-minute hold. So basically this is a point, this is the first of 2 10-minute holding periods, which basically means that if there are any issues, if you've noticed anything wrong, if you need to clarify anything or do any kind of last-minute things, then this is a 10-minute rest period where you can just basically do whatever needs to be done. You can see we're at T-minus 20 minutes, so this is basically 20 minutes before liftoff, so we don't have much time left, but but yeah, we have now 10 minutes where we can basically just do nothing. I'm going to go ahead and press T because I don't need to do anything. Okay, so what do we need to do now? Hold on. Yeah, load the flight plan to the computer. So the way the computer works is a bit funny. I don't really know exactly what these things mean necessarily, but basically it just tells you, because I have the game set to automatic help, so it tells you what you need to do. So you need to press spec and then 99. So click on 9 twice and then PRO, which I assume means program. It probably just loads the program, which does some stuffs. I don't know what exactly it's supposed to do, but yeah, it basically loads. Yeah, so CRT2 will now indicate the launch trajectory. So basically, if I go back to the panel here and look at not here, but well, can I just go here? If I just go here, yeah, CRT displays. I can just click on that, and that should show me the CRT. So CRT2 should now show. I guess this is what we're looking for. I guess this is what we needed to have. I am afraid that I don't really know a lot about what any of this means. Okay, now we need to load another program. So we press OPS and then 101 Pro spec 104 Pro. Again, yeah, it's loading some program into the in-flight computer. I don't know what these different programs are. I mean, it tells you it tells you what to type in. You literally just have to type in what it tells you here. So, and again, if you have automatic help turned on, it even highlights the buttons, as you've been seeing. It highlights the buttons in red, so you just click on where it's flashing. So it makes things pretty easy. Again, I don't know what these programs are, but these are the programs that will basically control the flight of the shuttle. So again, like I said, you don't actually control the takeoff. The takeoff is pretty much automated. You're just setting things up to do everything. So you're basically just starting the program that will then do everything automatically. So already in the 1970s, AI was taking over everything. This is already the point where AI was basically taking control from humans and doing everything while humans just kind of sit around and watch it do its thing. So, okay, we are pretty close to launch now, I guess. I've been press T, waiting for the next thing. So here we go. Now we need to, what is this? I think HE is helium, so helium isolation A. So if I click on this, yeah, so we're opening these helium isolation valves, I guess. Yeah, okay. Helium pressurization, that's right. Okay, so we're initializing the helium compression or pressurization, so the helium will do its stuff in the fuel system. Okay, fair enough. Let's keep going. We've got another message. Okay, there we go. This is the last of this is the second 10-minute hold. So we've got, actually, I don't know why it says 10 minutes, because it's actually T minus 9 minutes. So really it's more like we have 9 minutes before launch. So there's still not really much to do here. I mean, if we look around at the control panels, there's obviously not much new here. The only real new information might be on the CRTs, but I think the CRTs still show the same things as before. Yeah, this is our trajectory, or planned trajectory. This is whatever this is, and then this down here shows us, yeah, again, I mean, not really much to say here, not really much to show right now, because we are just sitting around waiting for launch. So I'll go in advance time. We are getting pretty close now. Okay, timer control. So start the timer. So timer been switched to start, and check that the indicator is counting down. Where is the indicator? Where is the indicator that's counting down? Is it on? It's probably one of these screens. Oh wait, no, it was there, wasn't it? Event time. I guess it's this. Gonna assume. I don't know. It's counting anyway. The timer's counting, so I'm going to go ahead and assume that that's... All right, here we go. All right, crew access arm retracts. Columbia, this is control. Your crew access arm is now retracted. Anyone wanting to leave must now do so by emergency procedures. So again, it doesn't. I don't think this actually moved. This thing here. But basically, the idea is, I guess this is. Is this thing here a camera? Wait, did something actually move, or did I just? I don't know. I'm actually not sure if something moved here. I don't think it did, but anyway. But yeah, they retracted the catwalk here. So basically, the idea is now if somebody wants to leave the shuttle, they basically need to do an emergency evacuation. Prior to this, they could have theoretically walked off the shuttle, but now, if somebody wants to leave for whatever reason, they will need to do an emergency. Start an emergency procedure to do so. Okay, advance time. And I need to turn on the boilers. So 1, 2, and 3. And this is the APU fuel tank valve. So these are actually opened. I need to close these. And this is, I guess, the APU pump. I need to turn this off and enable the APU auto shutdown on these 3 things. And this is... What is this? I need to change this from normal to high, I guess. What was that? What did I actually do at the end there? Oh, APU speed select is... Okay, so these are all the things I did. So change the boiler control, turn on the boiler control, change the APU fuel tank and pump settings, enable the APU auto shutdown, and change the speed select. Okay, here we go. Now we change this stuff here. Do I turn this on or off? I guess I did the right thing there. Oh, so I guess I needed to flip this down. I flipped this up, but I guess I needed to flip it down, so it's still highlighting it. Yeah, so it's kind of hard to make a mistake here in this mode because it basically highlights where you need to click, and if you click the wrong thing, it will keep flashing, so you know you made a mistake. So yeah, this is all the stuff I did. I'm not going to read all this out loud now. But, yeah, exactly. Most operations are expedited automatically from the GPC, which is, what is GPC? Ground program control or something? I don't know. Or maybe C is computer? General purpose computer, maybe? I don't know. All right, we are on internal power. My coffee machine is full power. All right, we are pretty close now. How far are we from launch? We are 4.5 minutes from launch, so pretty close, but still it's going to be pretty tedious to watch it, so let's go. Whoops, wrong button. All right. Orbiter main engines gimbal to their launch positions. Columbia, this is control. Main engine gimbal now complete. External tank oxygen vents closed. Liquid oxygen tank begins pressurizing. Okay, vents closed. Looks good. Okay, so the oxygen in that huge fuel tank is now beginning to pressurize. We will soon... We're not going to see anything, but I'm going to change the camera just so we can see ourselves take off, because I think takeoff is going to start pretty soon now. Okay, we need to turn these off now. That was the APU auto shutdown. We need to change that to inhibit. Okay, the hydrogen pressure is now building up for flight. We are pretty close to, let me just see... Actually, there's a walkthrough available online, which I have opened a separate window. I'm just looking at what's supposed to happen still. Yeah, so the hydrogen is pressurizing, and we are pretty close to... How far are we from launch now? That was 1 minute and 57 seconds away, so we are now... Where's that timer that we had? Hold on. If I go here, okay. Theoretically, it should be here, right? No, this is the wrong panel. Duh. Hold on. Go to... I don't know. Is it part of air data? I don't think so. Okay, I don't know what it is, but here we go. Here's the timer. So I guess when this hits 12 minutes, I guess that's when the actual launch will start, theoretically. Do I want to be so impatient as to try advancing time at this point? I mean, I might as well, because it's gonna... Sorry, not 12 minutes. Man, what time is it? I'm all mixed up now. It's 11:55, but I don't think we need to wait 5 minutes for something to happen. I think something will happen before 5 minutes from now. I don't see anything obvious happening right now, but let me see. Is there any information anywhere on something that's happening? Oh, we got a message. Oh, we have liftoff. Oh, I missed it. Oh, darn it. I didn't even realize we had, did not even realize we had taken off. Sorry, folks. Happened so suddenly. I didn't even realize that the takeoff had started. So yeah, the takeoff is totally automatic. You don't need to even press anything. The engines just start by themselves. So as I was saying, those two rocket boosters are providing a huge amount of thrust. They are really pumping the shuttle into the air now. They're basically, that's what's providing the thrust right now. You can already see the shuttle is kind of starting to lean back a bit. That is normal. It will transition from pointing straight up to pointing sideways, and it is already in the process of doing that. So again, you don't really need to do much here. Like, you can just watch. This is not a very interactive takeoff. Yeah, all engines look good. So there's really not necessarily a lot to see or do here. I mean, this is the view out this is the forward view. Not really much to see here. If you look at the view out the left window, okay, you can kind of see out the left. At the side, you can kind of see the ground slowly disappearing below us. But it's still, I don't know, it's kind of a nice view, but I guess this view is probably better. So if I zoom way out and look at, now you can see there is the space station below us. Oh, I need to do something here. What do I need to do? I need to change attitude control to inertial, or no, not inertial, but LVLM, whatever that is. There we go. Or no, it's LVLH, sorry, LVLH. So, I think also... Yeah, local vertical, local horizontal is what that is, whatever that means. I think we are close to the point where these two rocket boosters are about to drop off. I think we are getting close to the point where that should happen. You can see we're already almost horizontal. We are already almost in a horizontal position as opposed to a... I mean, we're still going up, obviously, but as your location changes, your focus becomes more about getting into orbit and less about gaining altitude. We're still gaining altitude, obviously. I mean, where's our altimeter? There must be an altimeter somewhere here, right? Yeah, this is our altitude here, but but it's not working. I guess for whatever reason it doesn't show our... that's interesting. Why doesn't it show our altitude? I guess we're already too high to have a meaningful altitude. It might be that we're already too... Are we already too high up? I don't think... We can't be that high, can we? I don't think we can be already so high up that we don't have any atmospheric altitude. There we go. There go the rockets. And so now we are just flying based on the shuttle's inbuilt engines here and not on those rocket boosters. So from here on, we're on our own power. And that fuel tank, yeah, SRB separation, solid rocket booster separation. So that's it. We've just got our own engines propelling us now, and that fuel tank. That fuel tank is also going to fall away a bit, but let's see. I think we only have... There we go. Yeah, the game changed from simulating... you can see that the game changed a bit. It switched from a terrestrial thing to... We're basically in space now. Basically, we're as good as in space now. Because it's no longer showing Earth as a flat plane, but as a... sphere. That was most of it. That was most of the takeoff. Not necessarily a lot to show now. We're still... Yeah, you can still you can kind of see some details of Earth. Not a whole lot, but I don't know why the shuttle enters this position where the fuel tank is on top. Because in a couple of minutes, what's going to happen is this fuel tank is going to need to separate, and it will fall down. But for some reason, we are under it, so we're going to have to actually dive. We're actually going to have to like jump down a bit to avoid the fuel tank so that it will fly past us. I don't know why they do it like this. It seems like it would be easier to have the shuttle be on top so the fuel tank could just fall away. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know why they do things like this, but they do. So the fuel tank is on top of us, and all this is automated. Like again, we don't need to do anything. We can just watch the separation of the ET, the external fuel tank, is going to happen automatically. So at this point, I don't think we need to do anything. I don't think we need to do anything at all. We can just watch watch the sky turn black, watch Earth get slowly farther and farther away. And this is not the end of the mission. That was just the takeoff portion. Really what we're supposed to do is do like an orbit. I guess we're supposed to orbit once around the Earth, and then I think we're actually supposed to land. Like this is actually this whole mission is like one total orbit around the Earth. You take off, as we've already done. You orbit once around the Earth, and then you come back to land. So that's the whole mission. I'm not going to do the whole mission. This video's already been more than an hour, so I'm going to go ahead and stop soon. I just want to give us a few more, like just a couple more minutes here, just to kind of enjoy the splendor of this scene, even though there's not really much going on now. But when does that tank drop off? It's going to happen soon, I think. I think we're close to the point where that tank is going to fall off. I want to kind of watch when that happens. So yeah, I guess that'll be most of it. That's pretty much all that I'm going to show for this video. But yeah, this is Shuttle. It's pretty cool. I really like it. I never got too far into it. This is as far as I've ever gotten. I know it's one of those games where I always thought that someday, you know, I should really play this through. This game has something like 10 missions in it, and each mission gets successively more difficult. So I'm assuming it gets a lot more involved later on. This is really just like an initial taste of what the game is like. But yeah, there were not a lot of really realistic efforts at simulating space. Like there were a lot of flight simulators back around this time, but there were not a lot of space simulators. There was Microsoft Space Simulator, which was pretty good, but Microsoft Space Simulator came later. That was released in 1994, I believe, And this game is, I think, from 1992. So, Microsoft Space Simulator came a couple years later. That was at a time when Microsoft was already transitioning from DOS to Windows. That was 94, was obviously 1 year before Windows 95. And Microsoft had already released Flight Simulator 5, which was, the much more photorealistic version of Flight Simulator with like 256 color graphics instead of the 16 color EGA graphics that had been the mainstay of Flight Simulator 3 and 4. So this game kind of filled a very, I would say, pretty unique niche. This is a pretty unique sort of game. There are not a lot of games, like even today, I'm not aware of any games like this even today. I know there might be some kind of freeware games that kind of, sort of simulate this kind of thing. But as far as commercial products, like as far as commercial games that were sold, this is the only one that I know of. This is the only like actual commercially sold game that I can think of that really properly tries to simulate procedures like this. So it's something pretty special. And I know I haven't really shown it off very well. I've really only shown like the very earliest kind of notions of it, but I got a message. What does the message say? After we purchased only 5 seconds, we must not delay. Over. Am I supposed to do something? I don't think so. What do they mean we must not delay? Oh, is it upset because I was trying to control... Did I press... No. SRB parachutes. So I guess those solid rocket boosters are parachuting down to Earth. They have parachutes in that will allow them to glide back down to Earth. I mean, they could theoretically just splash into the ocean, but I guess they're going to parachute down into the ocean. I know it said we must not delay. That's interesting. I think I accidentally pressed an arrow key, so maybe it thought I was trying to steer the shuttle. But, yeah. At some... I'm just going to advance time a bit, because at some... Oh. Yeah, it happened pretty abruptly. There we go. I think, yeah, there's the tank up there. That up there is the... Yeah. I'm not managing the time very well. I mean, what I should have done was... yeah, there you go. There is our fuel tank falling away from us, and there is our shuttle just floating serenely in space, untethered to anything except itself. But yeah, I guess that's it. I guess that's all that I'm going to show now of Shuttle. Hope that you've enjoyed. Hope that it was interesting to watch. I can still kind of see the tank up there. It's a line, but you can kind of see it. Kind of cool. Oh, there's the sun. And there is Mama Earth. Oh, what did an OMS-1 burn? Okay, I'm not going to stick around for the OMS burn. I'm going to go ahead and I'll go ahead and say quit to DOS. There we go. Goodbye. Thank you. That's how things work. If you make goodbye into one word, then I guess the reasoning is thank you is also one word as well. It even simulated English. Okay, I guess that's all for now. Thanks for watching, everyone. Take care. Hope that it was enjoyable. Hope that you enjoyed watching me fumble around with the space shuttle, even though I didn't really do much. But yeah, that's all for now. Thanks for watching, everyone. Take care, and I will talk to you all later. Bye-bye for now.